All right, Jeff Karstens is back. One of my favorite teammates of all time, one of the best teammates in general you could ever have. AJ Burnett. I loved how he said this. We talk sequencing all the time. The guy was a surgeon, all precision, no panic. The dude's crafty. We're going to get into that scouting stuff. We're going to talk about how he approached the game. You want to stay tuned on this one. It is so good. You get traded over in 2008. But before we even get there, I'm going to read a couple of things for you. And my man Belsky, the producer, is going to play a little video. So this is some quotes on you from some people that you'll know. Clint Hurdle. Karstens knew who he was. He trusted his strengths and made hitters hit his game. Andrew McCutchen. He didn't need velocity to dominate. He played chess while others were playing checkers. Your boy Ray Searage. Jeff was a clinic in conviction. Every pitch came with a plan. AJ Burnett. We talked sequencing nonstop. The guy was a surgeon, all precision and no panic. And I pulled up some of my quotes. I'll read some of those later. And that's a testament to you, Karstens. You were a great Major League Baseball player, probably way better than you actually believe you were. But you were a better person, a better teammate. You talk about Tao, your love for Asian food. You threw a charity event in 2012. The entire team and front office showed up. Never seen that ever again. People gravitated towards you because you're slow to speak, you're quick to listen, and you genuinely think about what you're saying. But I'm going to say one more thing about the quotes, and it's coming from me. I said in 2012-13, you used to hand me a bat. You'd hold it in between innings, and you'd hand it to me, and we called it the voodoo. I still have it signs down the basement right now. And you'd always say, believe in yourself for it, believe in your swing for it, and go do it. Like, it was a repeat over and over again. And it was like your way of giving back what I was hoping to give to you on a daily basis when we worked together. And I said something to the nature of this. I said, Carson's one of those guys that sees the human being first. He's one of those guys that tries to identify who a person is, what they've been through, and where they came from ever before he ever sees a jersey or any type of baseball player. And I think that's evident in the conversation we just had. But I wanted to open that up, and then I want you to play this video, Belsky, of somebody that, thought you were a pretty awesome teammate too.
He was one of the guys that I gravitated towards when I first got called up to the big leagues. So that in itself should say enough of the person that he was and the teammate that he was. He also would throw some of the quickest games ever, so pitch clock would not be a thing or a problem for him. But he showed me the ropes, showed me how to be a big leaguer, things to do, places to go, places to stay away from, and how to stay here. So he showed me a lot, helped me out a lot throughout my career, especially early in my career. And happy to call him a great teammate and friend.
How about that?
Means a lot. It's awesome.
Well, we love you, dude.
Never knew that.
We love you. I didn't either. I contacted him, and literally like 15 minutes later, I had a video, and Belsky put the pictures in, who's our producer. But Karstens, I know at times it doesn't feel like it, but the city loved you. I love you. Kutches loved you. I know you want to get back into coaching, but just talk about your transition into Pittsburgh, and then we'll get into 2011, 12, and 13 and those teams. Because, dude, I don't know if I could tell. I try to have a way to tell people what that was like, and it's so hard because it was different. So take it away, wherever you want to go with this, and we'll just play along.
Yeah, I think when I first got traded there, it was an opportunity for me to be in the big leagues and not have the pressure of the big city of New York behind me. It was also tough making those starts and being part of a team that literally had no fan base. And there's fans, but I'd say fan base filling the seats, I should say. So playing in front of some of those stadiums in 08, 09, got moved to the bullpen, and that walk to the bullpen, you'd see people with bags over their head that say, trade me to, or trade me next. And you're like, wow, this is like a tough place. Like, fans want to win. And then slowly, 11, we were better. I think we were in first place in July, tailed off at the end. 12, we were pretty good, tailed off at the end. 13, I was hurt all year, and I was so happy to see that the run that they made. Like, I'm pretty sure I knew going into that year that like I was going to have to do everything I could to get on that field. Um, 11 was a really big struggle for me to stay healthy. Taking a lot of medicine, taking
Let me read those
painkillers.
numbers before you
Just
go into that. You were 9-9 with a 3.38 ERA. You had a 1.21 WHIP, 162 innings, 96 Ks, 31 walks. NL Player of the Week, July 11th to the 17th. You had a scoreless streak of 15-2 during June. 5 straight wins in June, or from June 14th through July 15th. And then July 15th versus Houston, you threw a complete game shutout, 5 hits. Bro, you may have been hurt, and I know exactly how you felt, but dude, that's an incredible year. You threw to 5 different catchers, me and Domit the most. Mostly, I think it was probably me more. I have those numbers too, but like
yes,
that's a resilient year. That's a breakout season type
yeah,
of year. That could have been an all-star type of year. Not now because you can't. You got to have 1,000 strikeouts, but
yeah.
you did special things, and you were a big reason in 2011 we were in first place through about August 1st or whenever that Atlanta play was that I don't like to think about.
Yeah, uh, man, that year was so much fun, and I think, if I'm not mistaken, the reason I got the opportunity to start was because Ross Ollendorf got hurt the year before.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was 10, and I came out of the bullpen, and I remember that day I was like, "I got you guys." Like, a bullpen needed help. I needed to like pick up a good amount of innings, and I was like, "I got you guys. Like, I'm gonna do this." And at that point, um, my career had no trajectory to like keep going. It was like I need to do everything I can in my power to try and make the organization look bad if they release me, or like why would they do that? So that was my whole goal at that point. It wasn't like a vendetta against the Pirates. It was just my motivation was like do everything in your power to make them not be able to make that move, to designate you or to do whatever. And because I did get designated by Neil Huntington, and that sucked. And I was
As
like,
did
wow,
I.
like
Yep.
yeah, I have this chip on my shoulder now, and like I just want to prove you wrong. Not saying that you weren't right at the time, but I, for myself, want to prove you wrong. And
Yeah. It's awesome.
that year, battling through those injuries, taking Toradol to get through the year, literally um, barely picking up a baseball to play catch too much during the week, just because I knew I needed to throw my start day. But yeah, it was a grind. It was something I don't regret. You know what I mean? Because had I gone to the DL and got it fixed properly or everything, somebody probably could have took my job, or probably would have taken my job. We had Brad
We had that
Lincoln who was
conversation
coming
a lot.
up
And I'll
and was
never
really
forget.
talented. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So it
Yep.
was like me knowing that, hey, I gotta maximize my opportunity here, and I might have to play through some injury to do it. But I'm willing to do it.
And then just talk about like what clicked that year. What clicked in 11? You were good in 12 too. And I felt like that's where it really kicked in when it came to the injuries. In 12, you really had to fight. And then we'll get into 13. But like in 11, like the curveball was real right when I came over. And the story that, like, I know you don't want to talk about yourself. It's one thing that makes you such an awesome dude. But fans out there, Karstens and Mulholland, when I first came over, you were my 1-2. Right, I caught Mulholland, then we flew to Houston, caught you, won both games. You guys both had a card in my locker when I came in from BP for our scouting meeting of how you wanted to pitch every guy. You know, where you
Mhm.
wanted to use your fastball, how you wanted to use different things, and then the 2K approach. Dude, that stuck with me forever. I'm like, dude, these guys are taking ownership. So when
Yeah.
we went in the meetings, Ray'd do his thing, and then you'd look at me, or he would look at me, like, what do you think, Mac? And that was day one. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, this is going to be real. I'm going to have a blast with these guys. And
Yeah.
from there on, we hit it off and it took off. But like you started that why, and then what was different taking over that starting role outside of your motivation that made you go out and everybody knew that it was going to be quick. Guys were going to be on their toes. And dude, I raked when you pitched. I don't know if you know that, but I think a lot of guys did.
I still remember the home run off Ted Lilly, I think. they were beating us and you hit the home run against the Cubs, or was that Walker?
That was Walker, but I did hit a home run against the Cubs. I have the date. We pulled all this information. Where is it? We'll find it. Belsky will throw it out there. So,
Yeah.
August
Yeah,
1st, 2012. 8-4 win.
yeah, I learned the card thing from Mahalam. Saw him doing it. He was a seasoned vet, first round pick. And he was actually the first guy I'm pretty sure I ever faced in pro ball. He was playing for Williamsport, and I was playing
Oh,
for
that's cool.
Staten Island. So we
Two in.
got to face each other there. But I think we ended up winning the game. But I think Nigel Morgan lead it off, so that's
Oh,
full circle. But yeah, it's just one of those things where we get these scouting reports. There's a lot of information on them, so I can only imagine the information on them now. But I was trying to simplify it with the arsenal that I had, because there was a lot of information on there, that pitches that I didn't throw. And I also wanted to look at certain things that kind of, for me, kind of helped me with the guy's swing pass, with which I felt like if I could stay out of certain areas, I could have more success for myself. So it kind of evolved with taking the scouting report, learning like Paul, leaving it with you, and then having that discussion like after BP. I'm pretty sure it'd be me, you, and Ray come sit down in the training room, talk a little bit. It was like studying, having a refresher course, and then taking the test on the field. So for me, it was a good way to get all the information I needed, put it together with what you had, because you had your own notes, and then making it work, and then knowing that there might be a day that, hey, plans out, it's not working today. Like, you got to
yeah.
flip it. The game plan by the other team is matching what we're trying to do, so we have to make the move now. If we make the move too late, game's going to be out of hand. We're going to lose. So it's like having the wherewithal to understand that, recognizing swings, because if swings get too good, then for me, there's tip pitching or pitch tipping going on, because guys shouldn't take swings the way they do if guys are really throwing the way they are. But it was just that thing that helped me kind of like accelerate my learning curve. But I would say, as far as on the mound, it was feeling like I was about to get designated again. Ross Ollendorf was coming off the DL. It was like day 14. I was starting, and I was like, you know what? If my career ends today, I want to know that I had fun. And then that day, I started throwing BP fastballs and started getting
Yes.
ground balls to shortstop. And I was like, wait, I can play with where the contact point's at. And for me, that works. And you can't per se teach that to pitchers now, because the coaches probably wouldn't teach it. But for me, I knew that I could do that. And I knew I could dictate where a hitter's hands start to turn a little bit, which in turn is the rollover for the ground ball. Or if they're trying to stay through it really, really well the other way, then I know I have to come in. Or just like really having a good detailed idea of like where they're in the box. Why do they stand that point in the box? Chase zones, like just all these little things that you could have in your back pocket. And that's why Blake Snell, as much as people might like, why is he pulling out this card? I'm like, dude, hitters have enough stuff on the pitchers that like you don't always know what you need to throw. So yeah, having a little cheat sheet, all right, boom. And I'd say it's been
He,
pretty successful for him too.
yeah. Karstens, he doesn't need it. I caught it. I was part of the like team with Snyder's pitching coach that tried to convince him that his stuff's so good, but he would throw stuff in the worst counts. So caught him
Yeah,
first time. We threw 8 breaking balls for strikeouts. He struck out 10, and they're like, "What just happened?" I was like, "What do you mean?" I was like, "How did you get him to throw breaking balls?" I was like, "Oh, I let him throw his changeup more." They're like, what? I'm like, he wants to throw his changeup. I'm not going to tell him not to throw his changeup. He wants to throw his changeup.
yeah,
Better counts for him.
yeah,
I said, hey, Eminem, it's me and you. Trust me. I don't care about what they say. I want to do you. Let's do us.
yeah.
And he trusted me, and then we got to that breaking ball. It's just lights out, just stupid. Now it's one of his best swing and miss pitches. But like Karstens, I want to go back to the swing planes and talk about
Mhm.
how did you start to understand reading hitters? Because like we can go into this all day. This is stuff fans I think would just eat up, right? Because when we saw Shane Victorino, I'll never forget. You go, hey man, slow curveball, get in a pickle, throw him a slow curveball. He'll roll it over. I'll cover first, or he'll roll it over to second. And I swear to you, every single time we faced Shane Victorino and we needed an out, we threw that curveball slow. And there's a couple guys like that. but just talk about the swing plane, what you see, and then we can talk about our dynamic, kind of like some of the games that we went through where we did make shifts.
Yeah, for me, it was hitting's timing, and
That's fine,
I'm
baby.
just trying to disrupt that. So I think one guy that vividly sticks out to me in my head was Miguel Tejada. And
Yeah,
watching video, you would see that Miguel's bat would be like the head of the bat would be like facing me, and the ball would
he'd
be
have a
halfway to
tilt.
the
Yeah,
plate. And I was like, yeah. So I was like, wait, the only way he's going to get to anything is if I throw it away and I help him out. So having the understanding and watching video and really breaking down like, all right, this guy likes the ball here because he does this well, and that's what he does well. And then if I do something well and it matches up with that, I might try and like teeter from it a little bit, but not too much because it's my strength. But just really trying to have an understanding of the hitter's timing, what they do as far as a leg kick, and what they have to do to get into that timing. And then you learn the hard way sometimes too, where like you're like, oh, I'm gonna trick this guy. And I don't know if I think you might have been catching me against Arizona. Tried to quick pitch Goldschmidt, and he had no leg kick, and he hit a line drive back at me off my belt. And I was like, well, that was really dumb because there's no leg kick there, so there's no quick pitch in that guy.
correct.
But it was just one of those things where you're like, oh, like you think you can do certain things, but you don't really learn until you try it. And it took me learning in the game that like, okay, can't do that to that guy. But it also gave me a focal point for future guys that I may try and do that too. Like, hey, if the guy's got no leg kick or they shorten up with 2 strikes, might want to try and stay away from that. You got to think of like speeding guys up to be able to slow them down. And like, how do I do that? Like pitching in. Um, and I can give people like a prime example was last night, Max Scherzer pitching, a lot of fastballs in, and their ability to get to that pitch, yeah, they might hit some foul, but they were late on those balls because everybody wants the ball out over the plate, and their timing is like for that pitch away. And I would say the pitches that got hit and hammered were pitches out over the plate, and every pitch
Mhm.
that he threw in for the most part didn't get hit. It was fouled off or they were late. So
Yeah, and
having the
I
understanding,
want to
go
I want to
go for it.
reiterate that. Like this guy's more north to south. Scherzer, right? He's got a gyro type
Mhm.
slider. He tries to get more horizontal movement time, change up. So he's gonna just hammer the top of the zone. Well, as you get older, he's throwing 93. It's not 95, 96. He does have extension, so that's a perception and velocity that changes things. By pitching in, he's 4 miles an hour harder if he gets it high enough to where he wants to be. So it's playing up too. And I think he realizes
Yes.
that. And then when it leaks, it still has an effect if it's elevated because if as long as these guys aren't cheating for it, you're going to be
Yeah.
okay. But even if they do, it's a different type of fastball because of all the deception it has. So it's using all that knowledge to your point. I'm glad you brought that up because, it's been interesting to see because he doesn't pitch down well at all with his fastball. He never has. He tries to get
Mhm.
there. Probably the best spot for him would be down and away. But the way he releases, it's hard for him to get there. So being able to pitch in and up has really helped him out, especially the second half. So it's a really good point, and that's how you adapt.
Yes, without a doubt. I think he threw a couple slow curveballs last night that really helped him
Mm-hmm.
out. I think the speed and for me, what helped him in those counts was the speed variation on the pitch from his fastball.
No doubt. It didn't
The
even
the
have to be a
speed
good
difference
curveball.
allowed, yeah, no, the allowed the hitters bat plane to go in the zone and hopefully out of the zone before that curveball even arrives to the zone. If that makes sense to people, I hope so. It's like I try and dumb it down to people. I was like, imagine you're about to get T-boned in an intersection, and you're trying to think of like, how can I avoid that extreme contact to make it either barely clip the end of my car
Mhm.
or clip the other side completely to where the impact isn't full on. So, and part of that is the pitcher taking velocity off to allow that car to get through, which in turn is the bat. So sometimes when I talk to kids, I try and put it as basic as I can. So sometimes I use that analogy, like, hey, like if you're a car and you're about to get hit perfectly, like what pitch would you do to slow it down to allow
Ooh, I like
the
that.
hitter's bat to get out of the zone? And because everybody kind of learns differently, right? And I've learned that some kids need more video to like really understand that. But yeah,
No doubt.
just having the understanding of how to make it process in my mind and how I can put that onto the field. wanting everything to translate is probably the hardest part.
He got him, and he's done it again.
Welcome to Unobstructed Views.
We're at BP. We're going to get an inside look.
Once you start loving each other, you start fighting for each other.
Welcome to Coach's Corner. And he'll admire it, so will we.
Is that too much to ask for?
Oh, baby.
The next step in this is, all right, now it's game time. Like, we have all these thoughts, all these ideas. You just talked about kind of reading the swings and whatnot. So you're going in the game plan. I'll never forget Houston. It's probably the third time we faced him in the last 3 weeks. We're in the bullpen. You're feeling a little froggy, and you say, "Hey, Mac, I think I've got a cutter today." I'm like, "All right, let's go. See what you got." Do it a couple times in the bullpen. I'm like, "All right." I believe I said this. I want to make sure I'm right. I believe I said, "Dude, when you want to throw it and I call a fastball away, throw it up." Some to that nature, because I remember I was like, what sign do we use? We came up with that solution. It's like, hey, when you feel like it, especially, I think it was just the lefties. It's like, just let it go.
Yeah.
Was that?
And we
was
actually
that
did. Keppinger flew out to end the game. Yeah, it was. I think you told me. This is. I was like, maybe it doesn't move that much. We're like, if you want to throw it, just throw it.
Yeah, that's what I said.
And
Yeah.
I was like, all right, because it was really short movement. So then for me, like we talked about, right, I was just trying to miss the sweet spot of the bat. So
yeah, and
if it could just
I knew
move
what
to
you're
the
trying
end
to
of the bat
do.
a
So
little
I was
bit.
like, yeah, it's beautiful.
Yeah. So it was
Yeah.
one of those things. And I was actually telling that story to a kid at the facility I give lessons to, or lessons at the other day. I was like, yeah, I was facing the Astros for the third time. And I was like, you know what? I had the confidence, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna do it. And we threw it a few times, and it helped me. But you have to have the self-confidence and the conviction to be like, I can do this, and not be looking for an excuse when it doesn't go well. Be like, and it's pretty crazy because and not to get off of it, but I just tell the kids, no excuses. Like if you have a poor game, I had a poor game. Like, and
I
I can
learned
only
from it.
imagine. Yeah, and I'm sure we'll get there. But like Paul Skeens probably got asked a ton of questions about the run support.
Yeah, no
And
doubt.
I'm sure it's hard to answer those questions sometimes, but for me, the run support that year that I had a really good year in 11, it was lower end for our team. But for me, every time the reporter asked me, it was like, well, what do you got to do to win the game? I was like, well, the offense gave me 2 runs. My job was to give up one. Didn't do it. So you know what I mean? Like that's part of the game.
Oh,
There's gonna be
well
days where
said,
they score
dude.
6, but like
Well
never
said.
want to throw my teammates under the bus. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Nobody's trying to go up there and suck. Because I'm obviously not trying to go up there and give up 5 runs. So like the last thing I want is somebody being like, oh yeah, the team didn't score runs for me. Like, no. Pitcher on the other side's pretty good when their names CC Sabathia, Johnny Cueto, Ian Kennedy, like not too many slouches that you face coming across a big league rotation.
No doubt. And so, real quick, I want to give some context on that cutter against Houston. So, Karstens' fastball had life coming back just naturally. It was a natural gift, had a lower arm slot, good life coming back. Gets a lot of ground balls on that fastball way. It kind of starts off, comes back on. So, being able to have a cutter that just barely went this way as a hitter, I'm seeing it. I'm like, oh, I got him. Oh, no, I ran out of bat. But the thought was, let's be safe, throw it to lefties because we know, hey, we got to get in, and that natural comeback to the lefties too is where sometimes you would get hurt, and that leads me to a game that I'll never forget. This game for me meant the world. We're in St. Louis. You throw 7 innings. I think you have like 7 or 8 punchies. I don't remember exactly. And we went completely against the game plan. Slider became your primary, secondary, and we threw in the dirt a bunch. And we just adapted on the fly because they had a really good plan. I don't remember if they scored early or if the swings were really good.
They did.
But I remember, and I don't even know if we won the game, but I think it taught me more that day about trusting myself and how to get guys to trust me in big moments. So forever thankful for that. Forever thankful for everything you said that day. But that was an interesting game. I think a lot of people could learn from it, especially kids. So
It
take
was
it
a
away.
day game on a Sunday. Day game on a Sunday. Correa and one other pitcher got an IV Friday and Saturday because it was miserably hot. The humidity in
That's
St.
right.
Louis was ridiculous.
I forgot about that.
I knew my stuff was a little bit better that day because we struck out Beltran with
Mhm.
like a little Vulcan type changeup split that I learned from
Yep.
Kutch, like probably that week or a
Wait,
week
what?
before. And when,
Oh,
yeah,
you're talking about the waterfall. I thought you were talking about Andrew.
yes,
Oh,
the little,
what
oh yeah,
a
no,
beauty, Daniel
no,
McCutcheon,
yeah.
the better
So when
athlete
he looked
McCutcheon,
up at
as
the
he says,
scoreboard, the faster one,
the faster
but
one.
he looked up at the scoreboard and I was like, he didn't pick up that pitch. He didn't
Mhm.
like, he was trying to figure out, he's like, what was that? Like, cause everything else, my changeup was probably slower. And I think that split that I threw him was like 83, 84.
Mm.
And then I remember exactly what you're talking about. We went extra innings. We did win the game. I believe we won that game. Almost positive we won that game because it was like a travel day. Yeah, I think we were flying to San Diego after that too, or something like crazy. Um, but the scouting
It wasn't the
report,
wives
one
trip,
guy that
was
we
it?
did, was it the
What?
wives trip? I don't remember, but
If it
I
was, that was the 19
remember
inning
that.
game in St. Louis. Pedro had
Yes,
a
it
homer to
was
win
that
it.
day. Yes,
Oh, I went 0
yes,
for
it
8
was
that
that
day.
day.
That's what it was. Yeah, I guess I had the worst offensive day ever. Had a home run robbed, 2 hits taken away, but I
Oh man.
remember after it was all said and done, like some of the things you and Hurdle said, and the game shift in the plan. Because like if you look
Mhm,
up the numbers in 2011, 12, even in 13, but really 11 and 12, the St. Louis Cardinals numbers were a joke. Like, I mean, nobody in the National League had the same numbers, especially when it comes to batting average
mhm.
and OPS, than most of that entire lineup. It was a joke. So
Yeah, I mean, they were good.
they were
And
really
did they have
good.
Berkman at that time too?
They had Berkman at that
But I
time
also
too.
think too, we used the scouting report against certain guys. Berkman liked the ball of the plate. I didn't throw in a ton, or that's when I started bringing the two seamer back in.
Back hip.
But Descalso, I remember vividly because I tell kids like when you have a scouting report, your job is to know the guys that'll chase. And we went back foot slider, strikeout at bat one. Back foot slider, strikeout at bat two. So third at bat, we're like, he's looking for it. Fastball down the middle, and he took it and just walked back to the dugout. And I was like, yes, now we're pitching. Because the game, like the one we're talking about, is like learning who's going to make the adjustment, who's going to lay off the pitch and kind of play the chess game with you. Who can you continuously bounce the breaking ball on? Like, and I feel bad saying to certain people, but like Corey Hart, I knew that I could just throw him sliders in Milwaukee. He couldn't hit it.
Yes. Ever. Ever.
Chris Johnson, the curveball,
Yep.
like the curveball
Yes,
on the plate. It
that's
was
the other
like his
curveball guy.
chase pitch
Yep.
on the plate. So you learned the guys that you didn't change. Brandon Moss, and he would joke about it when he got to Pittsburgh. He's like, bro, you could have a horrible day, and if I came up, you would have the nastiest changeups. And for me, it was like, oh, bro, I know. I was like, all I ever wanted to do was throw your changeups. And as soon as I felt like you were trying to sit on it, I'd just sneak a fastball in a little bit, and you'd get blown up. And he's like, yeah, I hated it. But you just kind of learn, like, the more you watch. And I think with the information available now, like swing miss percentage, walk rates, like you
It wouldn't be
find
fair
out
if he
who's really
pitched
good
right
with
now.
ball to
It
barrel.
wouldn't be
Yeah,
fair.
ball to barrel contact, who walks, and learning who takes pitches, who doesn't take pitches, and like where's my cheap outs at, like pitching around my lineup, and like how am I going to do that when game's in a hunch? Like who do I want to face if I have my choice? Like if it's between two guys and we're in the same that spot in the lineup, like do I want that guy or the guy after him? And knowing how we want to attack it. So yeah, I think the Cardinals
You're not
game, it
passionate
was one
about
of those
this at
games
all.
where like
At all. You don't love this game at all.
no, my wife's like, you spend too much time on baseball, and I'm like, no, I have this passion because we met post baseball too, so she has no idea
Yeah.
the amount of love that I have for this game, or like going to give a lesson that's supposed to be 45 minutes that runs an hour and a half just because like I'm like, no,
Yep.
man, like I
I
want to
get
be
it.
fully in, like I want you to understand. But yeah, that St. Louis Cardinals game, to go back to it, game plan, I think they scored too early or something. We were facing Jaime Garcia, right? The
Uh-huh.
lefty.
Yep.
And
Yep.
yeah, I remember tagging up on John Jay because I remember he didn't have a good arm. He was going a little bit to his left, and I ended up scoring the tying run, and we went extra innings because it was 2-2.
Wow.
Yeah, it's
It's good
just
memory.
it's funny that you could say stuff like that. Yeah. I'm almost positive if you look it up, I scored a run that day, and it was the tying run, and fourth inning, fifth inning. But yeah, I tagged up on a fly ball to center field, which is probably unheard of for a pitcher. But I was like, hey, got to get to third base. John Jay doesn't have a great arm. He's moving the other direction, not going to left center. He's going to right center. So it's just kind of, yeah. Baseball's a passion, man. It's you got to really love it. You got to really want people to do well and succeed. And I think thinking back on the difference between me and some guys that I came across that were really, really good is that I genuinely wanted everybody to do well so that the bar was raised, because if the bar is never raised and I only have to be mediocre, guess what? We're both getting released.
No doubt.
But if the bar is raised and I kind of try and get to that bar, maybe I don't achieve to get there, but that bar is set so high that like even falling short of it, I'm still really good. Having that ability to like know that I have to like get to that point to have success. It's funny how you learn things that make you tick and tick in a good way, like what's going to help me out, what's going to be a detriment to me, what's going to be best for myself, I guess.
Which ultimately, in your
So,
mind, is also going to be the best for the team. That's just your personality.
yes, without a doubt. Yeah, I just want everybody to do well, because if everybody's doing well, then the bar's raised and the standard's higher. But if I'm just worried about, hey, I want him to pitch poorly so that I have my spot, guess what? Even if I pitch poorly, like I said earlier, we're both going to be out and the standard's going to be pretty crappy and our team's going to be crappy. And I don't play to lose games. I want to win.
Yeah. So Mike Tomlin says the standard is the standard. And then another thing I love to say to kids is like good breeds good. You know, if you create a culture of good, you're going to have a culture of good. If you breed great and you have a culture of great, you're going to breed a culture of great. That's why Paul Skeens is so important right now.
No one destroys a baseball like Oneil Cruz.
That is the hardest hit ball in known Major League history.
Pitchers should consider themselves warned.
And it is gone! There's a Cruz missile!
Log in with your cable provider and stream the Pirates all season long on SNP 360.
I want to talk about one more thing on the game planning because you were special at it. Finding your outs. And it goes back to when you were talking about being a kid, a self-evaluator, like who owns you, and when do you pick and choose those things? Who's hot, who's not? Even if they're hot, if you own them, do you pitch to them? Just kind of that third layer outside of the game time, making adjustments, pitching to, the situation or the scoreboard, or how do I grind through it and get through 5 so I don't destroy the bullpen? This is another element I don't think people talk about enough. Like if you have 3 or 4 walks in a game and a 0, who cares, right? So take that away, and then I want you to add one element to that, the bullpen. Actually, we'll save that to when we talk about the Pirates. So take that away.
Okay. I think with finding your outs, it's kind of like knowing who's going to do the most damage. And like to put it in an example right now, let's say I'll use the Blue Jays for example. My out would not be Vladimir Guerrero. And if you're looking at the Mariners, I think I might try and stay away from Polanco with the type of swings that you see them kind of taking currently. I think it might just be best. And part of knowing where your outs are is knowing that you might have to go after the hitter before Vladdy harder than you would really want to, because you want to face him with that, with really nobody on, or just a clean slate. So, more than anything, you're trying to figure out ways to not lose the game, for me at least. And that's when I pick and choose. And usually when I'm trying to find my outs in the lineup, those outs are usually when the game's on the line. First inning, second inning, you're not really worried about like the game so much being on the line, because you still have some play time, right? Like some time for some things to develop, your team to score runs. But I would say as the game gets to the 5th inning and on, you're really trying to be like, all right, I got to either minimize the damage because we have a lead that we're trying to keep, or the game's really tight. So like an example would be 2nd and 3rd, first base open, 1 out, and you're like, the guy hitting is a power threat. He's got good numbers against me. Guy behind him, ground ball guy, I can induce it. I have the stuff to make him hit into a double play. So you might use the first couple pitches to see, hey, will this guy chase? And if he doesn't, then you're just kind of like unintentionally walking him because you're trying to set up the best situation for yourself to get out of that inning without any damage or minimal damage. So the choosing of the hitters is more so dictated upon the game and the situation in the game. Because there's times where you have a lead, you can be like, hey, I don't have to worry about picking and choosing my outs. Like, I just need to worry about guys not getting on. Like, just challenge guys, because a solo home run does nothing. But you put crooked numbers up, now we're talking they're back in the game. Some things kind of get out of hand. But yeah, you're just trying to help yourself have success.
and
part of that is putting yourself in a good spot.
No doubt. My job was to look at it differently. So I have a couple different examples. Like, I know somebody has a broken toe and they're playing through it and they can't land the same way because I'm watching the video. I'm like, okay, they're not going to be able to get to the pitch that they've done damage against us, especially Karstens. So then you take those elements and you take them in the game, and there may be a situation, and I can't think of one off the top of the head with you right this moment, but I do remember one with Canely, who was in Detroit this year, changed up McGee. His first save opportunity was against the Nationals. When you think about the Miller lineup, you're thinking about Harper, Zimmerman. I can't remember who all was in there. It was a dumb lineup. I think Worth was there. Well, we walked the bases loaded. We have 2 outs.
Josh Willingham.
Yeah, it was a stupid lineup. Zimmerman's hotter than the Dickens. I try to walk him. It's a 1-run game. He already hit, I think, a homer or 2 in the game, only runs that scored. But I pitched around whoever was after that to get to Harper. The matchup didn't match everything. We struck out Harper because of the changeup, because nobody knew this guy had this changeup. And then get to Zimmerman, I'm throwing changeup. Ended up throwing 30 changeups out of 37 pitches in that inning, and he gets his first save. And I get pulled in the office the next day, and they're like, "What were you doing?" And they asked Canely, like, "Why did you do that?" He's like, "I just did whatever Max said." And the reality of it is like, because Canely was a nervous wreck. He couldn't throw strikes with his fastball. His best strike pitch is the changeup. They didn't know that because they just knew he threw his 98, 99 because he'd been pounding the zone. But knowing the guy, knowing the situation, I'm pitching around guys to get to the changeup to be able to throw it, but I couldn't throw the changeup to Ryan Zimmerman. He may have hit it 7,000 feet the way his swing was, the path and everything out, that low ball, Matt Holliday type swing. So, yeah, you play it out, but that's why that give and take of the battery and the first real understanding of what being a Huckleberry was with you. It's like, you're going to put me in the rocking chair, and I'm just sitting back watch it. Okay, I see a window here. Let's see what he thinks. And then you just smile. It's like, got him. And that's the greatest feeling ever in a game. And you just won that at bat. A ground ball is going to go to Barmy. He's going to flick it to Neal. We're going to roll it up and come in and win that baseball game. It's the best feeling ever.
Oh, without a doubt. I mean,
without a doubt.
Yeah, I think more than anything, if you would ask me why you threw all those changeups and I didn't even watch the game, my answer would be because the hitter never made the adjustment. That's why we kept throwing.
No doubt. But that's how the game's shifted, right? It's just shifted. And before we jump into that, I don't want to hold you up forever, even though I could talk to you forever. I want to talk about 2013. You are on the DL. You fought all year. I caught every one of your sides, and they're constantly wondering because we needed you. We genuinely needed you on the mound. But talk about that year on your personal side, because I'm telling you, folks, having a guy stick around all year long, be under contract, could have easily been mad at the world, frustrated. He did the work. He did the due diligence. We both ended up being hurt towards the end of the year. We led the meetings. We did a bunch of stuff to take stuff off guys' backs. I'm happy I can say all this because it's about us, but it was led by you in my mind. And we did what we could, where we could. And it was an honor that we were asked to stay because it's not very typical, right? Ray and Hurdle asked us to stay through it all and be a part of it and help anywhere we could. I had guys crying on my shoulder after tough games, just walking through it in the training room when I can't even walk. And I know you had similar
Yeah.
stories, but just talk about the emotional side of that year, the good and the bad, and then we'll move on to today's Pirates.
Yeah, I think the good was I was still around everybody. The bad was just like this, I wouldn't say depression, but like this down spiral that I was kind of going through because I just felt like I couldn't move my arm just to get my arm to my armrest to my car, couldn't wash my hair. Like I was trying everything I could to stay on the mound, and I think the prior years and just the wear and tear just finally caught up to me. Talking about the junior college game where I threw 137 pitches and just learning, I felt like it was all just finally coming to a head that my body just couldn't take it anymore. So it was definitely a struggle because more than anything, I wanted to be out there. I just really started figuring out who I needed to be to have success. So to kind of have that all kind of pulled away from me and not on my own accord, that's what hurt the most.
Yeah.
That like an injury was what ended everything. Not that I wanted to finish pitching like, oh, you wanted to go out and pitch poorly and then be like released. It's like, no, but I wanted to be able to be like go out on my own terms and
Yeah.
and be able to like contribute and whatnot. But yeah, seeing everything go full circle, not even being a part of the team, but being able to be there in Chicago with the team, clinch. And to this day, like game yesterday in LA, Milwaukee, I saw the umpire cam where hitter's eye was in the light. They were in the shade. We played St. Louis and we had the day game. Game 4, day game. Game 5, day game. And not to say that, maybe we would have lost the games at night too, but those shadows were so tough to deal with as players. And I knew that as a pitcher, and that's why the first 2 or 3 innings in Pittsburgh, I didn't care if we scored runs because I was like, yo, like the hitter's eye is lit up and you guys are in the shade. Like I need to take advantage of this as long as I possibly can. And hopefully everything's in the shade by the time we're up to bat and they're not.
Yep.
So hopefully we get the first crack at the playing field being completely fair because I knew that it was tough on the eye to pick up that ball. But yeah, I think that season was it was a lot of things for me, but I think it all ended really well seeing that Cueto game. Like that to me is the best baseball game I've ever been a part of in my life.
Go a little bit deeper with that because it was special in every way. The sea of black, the call to the city, and they answered in a big way. I mean, that's a big turn from you walking to the bullpen, seeing a guy with the bag on his head, said, "Who's getting traded next?" Right? It just shows how passionate this place is. And at the end of this podcast, I want you to say what you said before we got on about Pittsburgh. But this city's special, dude. These fans are special. And that night, I think captured it in every way.
Oh, without a doubt. The way the stadium turned out, I think it was it Kutch and Jay sent out a text that was like blackout the stadium, and everybody wore black shirts. Was it you and Kutch? All right. But literally,
it was a
night before.
Yeah, it was one of the players' wives. I can't think of it off the top of my head. She brought it up about college football, and then we were joking around about it. We were all at dinner, and I kind of looked at Kutch. I was like, "We could really do this, I think." And knowing Kutch, like he's not gonna just jump out and do that. I kind of pushed him. I was like, if I throw it out there, we follow. And sure enough, he did. And then everybody else followed. Once AJ and him and all these guys and Jay Hayes started jumping on it, it took off. I just was the instigator in the background, like hey, we should do this. Come on, let's do this. Because somebody's wife said it, because she was a cheerleader at one of the schools. I think it was Penn State. Talking about the whiteout, and I was like, yeah, but we're like Pirates. We need the blackout.
Yes, it was amazing.
Yes.
I mean, that game still gives me chills every time I see it. I watch it. I mean, like I've come across Cueto. I'm like, I can't wait to see him drop the ball.
It's the best, isn't it?
The tradition runs so deep, and they had a good run for a few years after that, and I think the stadium, everything about that night, that game, that year, and especially not say for me, but I think at the time I was the longest tenured Pirate at the time in 13 at that time.
Yeah, I believe you're right.
Yep. 08. So for me, having seen what I initially saw when I first got traded over to what it was then, I was like, wow, this place is amazing. And I think that's why it still has a special place in my heart. Like I've seen that city be in the dumps for the baseball team and then be on top of the world for the baseball team, along with all the other sports that are amazing there. So yeah, just a deep, deep history, a deep bond, a deep everything for Pittsburgh for me.
There's no question. I want to ask you a question, but I'm going to save it for another time about
Okay.
AJ not starting that last game. Something I haven't asked in a long time. Actually, let's go ahead and do it because he was pissed, and I think the entire team was frustrated. Not that we didn't believe in Gerrit Cole, not that he wasn't better than AJ when it came to just the physical stuff, but there's something to be said about honoring your veterans. I didn't finish the game last night, but Castillo came out of the game in the fourth inning, and I'm sure it went fine. I turned it off, and the reason being is like this guy's thrown 500 innings in the Seattle uniform, and he got taken out in the first like bit of trouble, and you could tell his disgust. He couldn't even look at the manager in the eye. Right, wrong, or indifferent.
Yeah.
I always think you respect him. You do the right thing. It's their call. It's not yours.
Yeah.
But I do think like that belief in people matters. And AJ's numbers against St. Louis weren't good, especially during the day. But there's something about when you know a dude wants it so bad, and AJ wanted it so bad, and he was the guy we all backed and followed. I think that moment that happened, and it was told way too early, right? Remember, it was before we even left for game 4 and 5. So it got leaked. AJ's pissed, and the team's just in confusion. And that had to be really hard on Cole too. So just talk about that, because I think we've gone past 10 years. So we're allowed to talk about this now. And it's something the fans have never heard.
I think obviously 2 great individuals, 2 great pitchers. But at the time, like you said, AJ was our veteran, one of our big leaders. Cole was our young gun that, had amazing arm, amazing stuff. And then the numbers. And for me, sometimes it's like you got to go with what you trust. And sometimes that's the veteran that you feel like he's got the track record. And yes. And yeah, you may not, it may have been the wrong decision, but I think, like you said, the belief in people, right? It in turn becomes a belief in a team, belief in an organization. And when there's like a little bit of doubt, it trickles down as well.
No doubt.
So I can only imagine, and I've never talked to Cole about this, but the pressure that he could have probably felt, like not only upon himself, but being put in that situation for the city, the pressure to do well, because like I'm sure AJ was somebody that he looked up to, and it's not Gerrit's fault that they gave him the start, you know what I mean? But it also is a sense of like, hey man, you better do well because you just took the start from AJ Burnett. So
you feel that in your soul.
It's tough.
Dude.
It's tough all around. Yeah, it's tough all around.
Like I'll never forget pinch hitting for Barmas for the first time, and the feeling I had. I'm like, this is my guy. Like, this is weird, dude. I'm a right-handed bat, pinch hitting for a right-handed bat, and I've looked up this guy because he was literally in the uniform when I showed up on my debut in Colorado. Now he's here in Pittsburgh. I mean, did I do well? Heck no. Right? Because that's so tough, man. Because there's a human element to it. That's like this big compared to that moment.
Yeah. It's tough. And I would hate to have to be one of the coaches to make that call too. It's and that's where it's like full circle, right? No matter what side you look at it, somebody's going to be upset, hurt, feel like it's wrong. But the reality is we lost the game. We never know what would have happened if AJ would have pitched, but we know that maybe the belief in our whole team would have been different, possibly. Because like you said, it was leaked early. 48 hours of pressure adds up. Like you don't sleep well, like you're feeling all these things. And not to say that Cole wasn't ready for the moment.
Yeah,
but you're a younger guy, and it was that day game in St. Louis with Shadows, and I think we faced Wainwright, right?
We did.
Yeah, and he had a good curveball, and he was a gamer, and somebody that, a veteran that had been in a lot of big spots that maybe understood the moment a little bit more than a lot of people really understood what that means, because like the
Yeah.
moment of playoffs is so much more or so much harder than anything else, because a walk can cost you a game, a hit batter, bad base running, getting picked off, like
Yeah. Everything's aggressive in the
so many
playoffs.
things. Yeah, so
Yeah.
yeah, it
And
was
they're
tough.
it was very tough. But like, what was it? Wainwright closed in '08 as a
Yes,
rookie.
again,
So he'd been under that pressure. He's at home when you're in St. Louis and you're in that Cardinal uniform, which I got to do for a very short period of time. It's different. It's different.
yeah,
There's an ease and a calm about it, like you're out on the golf course, because they're just so low
yeah,
key. They're not going to yell at you if you do bad. They'll be like, "You did
yeah.
okay. Good job, Sugars. We'll just see you next time. Go get some rest." They
They
just
got some
believe.
great fans in St. Louis. Yeah.
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. Now moving on to today's game, like you were into coaching, you want to get back into coaching, and I believe you said at the professional level, maybe the college level, but getting out of the game and seeing it transition the way it has, like talking about our staff, will wrap all this together is like, how would you have used this information? What type of pitcher would you have been? Would you have chased pitch design, velocity, or would you have kept with the craft and the precision? I think I know this answer, but I'd love to hear it. And then wrap it up with the Buccos. We'll go back and
Yeah.
forth with that, but like I want to hear about how you would use all that's happening today, where you see the game going, because it's different. It's a lot of changes in a very short amount of time.
Yeah, I think information's good as long as it's not overwhelming.
No doubt.
If there's too much, you kind of get lost, maybe in some of the stuff that you're looking for. But I feel like technology and some of the stuff is great. It can only really, really help enhance your ability on the mound. But I do feel like you kind of lose who you are as far as your identity and some of those things, because you feel like, oh, if I don't hit this metric, then I'm not this person, or like if I'm not 94, I can't be in AA, or because some of the stuff I've heard over some minor league guys that I've come across is like, oh yeah, they said I didn't get to AA because I didn't throw 94. And I'm like, well, what were you hitting? Oh, it's 92, 93. And I'm like, what? And they're like, yeah, they told me because I'm not hitting 94. And I'm like, that's so crazy, because I feel like back in the day, it was like you need to hit for average. You need to be like not have a ton of strikeouts, get guys out. Like getting guys out was what meant things. It wasn't like my spin rate and my pitch design. And not to say that that stuff isn't important for your profile and for,
It's
I
a
guess,
tool.
for your plots on, yeah, but it isn't everything.
Yeah.
And I think, and I like to use like current examples, like the Dodgers have allowed their pitchers to go deeper in the game, starters, when I think they said last year, they've already pitched more innings this year than they did last year, the whole postseason combined. And they still have, what, one more game, potentially four more games with Milwaukee, and then the World Series potentially. Um, so yeah, just really having the ability to like trust your eye, know that you have all this analytical stuff, but there's days where you're just on and you ride that guy, because Jeter said it in one of the pregame shows. He's like, sometimes when you take that pitcher out, that's all you're really looking for, is that guy to get out of the game so that you can have like a fresh start or whatever. Because sometimes taking that pitcher out is like scoring a run. So yeah, being able to have that, all that info, I think is very beneficial. I wish I could know exactly what it is to speak more on it. I haven't seen any of the current scouting reports, so I don't really know. So I can't really speak too much on it, but I can only imagine that it would be helpful as long as you're using it in the proper manner. If you're using it too much and you're solely relying on that, then you're probably going to lose your identity as a pitcher, because you're solely looking for analytical stuff. When you're on the mound, you're by yourself. There's no tablet. There's no metric. Yeah, maybe you can look up in certain stadiums that have it, but the ability to get outs is like self-taught. You retain certain things throughout the game. You do your studying before the game. You do your studying in between innings. If you're Blake Snell, you pull out the card in between pitches, or you know what I mean? There's a variety of ways to use all the information. It's a matter of how can Michael McKenry absorb that information? How can Paul Skeens absorb that information? How do we absorb that information? Like, and how do we put it to use? because sometimes we know what we need to do, but we're just not able to get out of our own way. And I would say that like giving lessons now and thinking about the major league guy, sometimes getting the major league guy to have success is to get them to believe in themselves, one, and two, the person in between the ears is the person they're competing with most. It's not the guy in the box, because obviously you're talented enough to get to the big leagues. And I think the difference between guys that have success and the guys that kind of like fizzle out is the guys that are able to make adjustments make the adjustments. The guys that have been good their whole lives and never had to make adjustments, and now they're like, oh man, like the playing field's even, and like I'm having to do something I've never had to do my whole life because I've always been the best. Those guys are having a harder time because there's never been any tinkering, there's never been an adjustment. They've always just been good enough. But at the major league level, everybody's good.
A couple things you said, and I'll let you close this out, is you have to fail and you have to try. You have to understand who you are, be a great self-evaluator, talking about shortstop to outfield, then all of a sudden you get drafted as a catcher. And then one thing I say that you keep reiterating is the ball doesn't lie. The ball's going to tell you something, but the ball can be different on a given day. What's the humidity? Was it in the humidor, or was it not spinning well because of something? And you start asking those questions, because a wise person told me, and this is someone that's way smarter than me, he said, stats don't lie. That's the problem with baseball. But the people giving the stats do. And that blew me away when I thought about it, because then you start really learning. In any scouting report you look at, it's what you're focused on and what you're choosing to focus on that's going to drive you in the direction of your career. That's how crazy this stuff can get. It can go so deep into it that I could know at 3-0 for 400 at bats, Andrew McCutcheon's never swung at a pitch on the outer third, 3-0. So if we get 3-0, we throw a fastball out there, and we have 100% proof that he's never swung at that pitch. So what's that tell you? He's probably trying to lift off, get something close to him, create leverage. But you can create this complete story, and you can do it the right way, you can do it the wrong thing. And it all goes back to what you said at the beginning, understanding who you are and getting the wins. Because that thing that you said, 92, 93 in AA, you need to be throwing 94. Eventually the game's going to turn into robots. Or you can have the Jeff Karstens, the Paul Maholms, the Kevin Correas of the world who do things different because they just keep winning. And if it all clicks, they'll be an all-star, but they'll have a better floor because you're not wondering what's going to happen. You know what's going to happen. 5 innings, 2 to 3 runs is a typical day. They may go 7. They could go a complete game. And if they are getting destroyed, they'll still save the bullpen, give up 6, and be in the 5th. And that's what I think me and you are both on the same page with, is the game shifted. The Dodgers doing what they do, I think, is a great example of their bullpen stinks this year. Last year was the best. Their starters were hurt and they stunk. Now they're choosing right in front of them, but they had the innings for Blake Snell and these guys to go, and that's what they want. So going back to the in between the years, everything you just said, dude, we're still on the same page. We're still the battery that I absolutely love, and I appreciate you. Now close it out by thanking the city, and we genuinely appreciate you coming on for so long.
All right. Well, first off, thank you guys for having me. And the city of Pittsburgh, I mean, I can only speak highly of them. They embraced me as a kid that was like coming in from New York. And I really learned what like tradition was like to see. And I talk about it. I rave about Pittsburgh because I'm like, I don't get why all these other cities kind of like suck. Like all the teams are different sports colors. Like Pittsburgh's amazing. Like you can go to a Steelers game in a Pirate jersey. You can go to a Pirates game in a hockey jersey. Like the city just runs really deep with tradition. And I hope they know that it's not lost on the players, because when I was there and we were losing, like our passion is to win, and we can only control what we can control. And sometimes like the narrative that we tell ourselves is the narrative that's the truth. So yeah, just really like thankful for all my time there. Thankful to be able to take my family back for the first time. My kids saw it. They loved it. Thankful for Jimmy T and everybody in that organization. You know, I still think of Don Kelly. I think he's going to be an amazing manager. I think you guys are headed in the right direction. He's a passionate leader that I think has the clubhouse. And somebody that I played against in AA who was amazing. I think he knows the game. I think he is going to build the right staff around him that is going to mesh with everything that he believes in going forward. And yeah, I
You
think
look good on that staff.
I, I mean, I would love to be a bullpen coach, a lot less pressure talking about certain things, but that's neither here nor there. But yeah, I if that
Dude,
opportunity
if you came
ever
back and
came
were the
about,
bullpen coach, I'd try to be the bullpen assistant coach just to hang out with you.
dude, yeah, I mean,
Part-time
I could
bullpen
talk
assistant coach
baseball
with you.
all
Let's
day.
go.
Yeah,
No doubt.
I
Dude,
love it,
hey,
and I think my wife would kill me because the passion that I would have for the sports, she'd be like, "When are you coming home?" And I'm like, "I gotta study." She's like, "What are you studying?" I'm like, "Baseball." So
yeah,
yeah,
more. Yeah.
yeah, just thank you to the city of Pittsburgh. My time there was cherished more than you guys will ever know.
Karstens, thank you. Appreciate you. Thank you for watching Bucs Bounty. Please like, subscribe, do all that stuff that you need to do. It's on YouTube and everything else that has podcast. Do not miss it. This one's awesome. Thank you.